All right, would you like to tell us about how the Brady Bunch started? Brunch Bunch.
It wasn't the Brady Bunch,
Right.
it was the Brunch Bunch. We were closed Thanksgiving Day except for 4 hours. We were open from 8 to 12 for people to pick up fresh pies and fresh dinner rolls. We would go in at 4 a.m. and start packing up pies and rolls and putting names on them and arranging them so we could find them alphabetically. And we were really very busy. Kenny and I was one of the clerks and a couple other clerks. He would make a pot of coffee for all of us, and the store would open at 8 o'clock. The men would come in to pick up the orders for the women. The women were home cooking dinner for Thanksgiving. So almost everybody that came in to pick up orders were men. Most of the men were all members of the coffee club. I mean, all the businessmen had coffee in their store every single morning around this. We had a large U-shaped coffee counter, and it was kind of hidden behind a cabinet that held our ice cream, and it had shelves so you could go and sit in the booths behind it and not be seen. Well, Kenny was sitting back there having coffee, and Ron Roskins, the vice president at the time at Kent State, came in, and he was a good friend, and he said, "I smell coffee. Kenny, do you have a cup for me?" And Kenny motioned him to come on back. So he went back and sat with Kenny, and they were having coffee. And Ron and Kenny got to talking about how it would be fun to have coffee just for the men that would come in to pick up the wives' orders, because they were regulars, most of them. And so they invited a few men more to have coffee, and it kind of grew. The next year, Kenny decided that he would furnish donuts with the coffee. We had a donut machine in the front of the store that automatically made cake donuts, fried cakes. So my son, who was about 12, went down and ran the donut machine, and Kenny furnished all the donuts and all the coffee, but he said he wasn't going to furnish any of the work. He had a stack of aprons, and the fellas had to take turns serving. So it was Dick Codas and Larry Sisson and I can't think of the others' names. Anyhow, a group of fun fellas got behind the counter, and they started finding people for silly things that would come in, and they'd pass this basket around, and they would be collecting fines for the stupidest things. They just had it was very noisy. Everybody was laughing and talking. And all the businessmen, there was Loris Troyer and Ward Denig from Donaghy's and Harold Greenberger and all the businessmen. A lot of them were from Ravenna, because a lot of our customers were from Ravenna, but all the fellows knew each other. They just had a fun time. The first year we collected a little over $200. So they decided to donate it to a charity.
What were some of the fines, the funny things that they would charge?
Oh, they would fine somebody for not wearing a tie. The next time they would fine them for wearing a suit. Or they would fine them for not laughing at a joke. Or they were fining for talking out of turn. I mean, you name it, they thought of things. I'm up front handing out orders. I wasn't back there listening, I could hear them all laughing and talking, but I was busy with customers, coming in and out. But that's how it started. And each year it grew until it became packed, with people. And Kenny decided, that he would have to cut it off. And so he talked to Ace about doing it. And that's the year we had the fire anyhow in September
Which year was that?
1973.
Good.
I think
Okay.
it's the Bunch started in 68.
Okay.
So we had it for 4 years.
That's,
And then it moved to Aces. Then it moved to Missimi's. And now it's at the American Legion. And the fellas that started it really got excited about collecting this money. At our store, they never auctioned anything off. It was just all voluntary. Nobody got charged for coffee. Nobody got charged for donuts. Kenny just donated all the food. They had to do the cleanup work and do the service, you know, while he sat and enjoyed himself. And then we closed up at 12. They had to have it all cleaned up by 12. And they started the auctioning off after they left our store. Down at Aces, I believe, they started auctioning things off to make money. And it just really took off and grew. And is still going to this day. I don't know
It is.
how many years later it is, 40 years
oh,
later.
that's good.